Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about 3 things which are holding so many people back in terms of growing. This doesn't even have to be spiritual growth, just generally moving forward in your life and becoming more than what you are right now. So I came up with this 3 things from my own personal experience of just wanting to grow as a person. And also as a Hatha teacher, I've had many students come and ask questions before. I've noticed some patterns. Spending time living in an ashram, I noticed more patterns, just getting to know different people, and also just traveling around the world and meeting people from all kinds of walks of life. For years now, I've been doing this, and I've noticed some things recurring. So I sort of wanted to break it down into 3 basic categories, which I feel like will help you. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Okay, so 3 things. What are we talking about? First, honesty. What? Honesty? No, really. This is so core, so simple. In fact, I would say in terms of somebody on a spiritual path, this is the most fundamental thing that you need to master. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a perfect moral person who is only a good person. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When I say honesty, you need to figure out how to be almost ruthlessly honest within yourself. This isn't about other people. You need to tell some lie to other people. That's fine. That's a different thing. Even when you tell a story, once upon a time, well, that's kind of a lie. It's okay. That's not the point. But you need to be straight with yourself. That's what we're really talking about. Why? Because if you have to see clearly, if you have to understand yourself, if you're trying to grasp how to be a better lawyer, how to be a better doctor, how to be a better human, how to live well, how to understand anything in existence, or if you ask the big kind of questions, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? You want to know that kind of stuff? You better figure out how to be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere. There are so many people who have, they read a bunch of books and they saw a bunch of videos on YouTube of other people talking spiritual stuff, and they think that they've accumulated all this knowledge, but it's not true for them. So here's what I would recommend, and this is what I have found to be the way that you can kind of think about this. In your mind, there needs to be a precision scalpel. This isn't some axe. This is a scalpel. You are strategically and very meticulously cutting apart what is your personal experience. That's the I know stuff. That goes in the I know this bucket. And the only thing you allow in there is what you have personally experienced, exactly what you experienced. And you need to separate that from I think, I feel, I believe, conclusions, assumptions, I like, I dislike, all of that other stuff goes in a different bucket. But this is only for I know. I have personally experienced, not only just tasted, not only saw it one time, but I fully grasp this one aspect. Now it can go in the I know bucket. If you cannot say that you 100% know it, it doesn't go in the bucket. Okay? And everything else goes in the story bucket. And the story bucket is just all of your thoughts and opinions and feelings and all of that kind of stuff. All the assumptions, the conclusions, everything goes in the story bucket. Not because it's wrong. It could be right, it could be wrong, but it is not in your experience. So you can't honestly say you know. I'm talking about internally. Internally, you need to really understand this. If you have not 100% grasped it from personal experience, you just don't know. And that's okay. Not good, not bad, not right, not wrong. Just you don't know. This is about how to be truly honest with yourself. And this is what is holding so many people back because they are not brave enough to be truly ruthless with themselves about what they actually know. It is very easy to console yourself saying, yeah, that's good enough. You just throw it in the bucket because it's easier than doing the rather difficult sometimes work of being straight with yourself about what you've actually grasped. So I want to give you an example real quick. Suppose you're a child, and this happens to many people. I did it myself as a kid. You get curious when you're little and you see, the stove or a curling iron or something hot, and I just want to touch it. And you touch it and oh my God, it hurts. It's so painful. And all these things are in your mind, like fear, anger, upset, pain. All these things are flooding. And now the stove is bad and I don't like the stove. The stove's mean. I'm never going to use the stove. And all these things are coming up. These are your thoughts, opinions, beliefs, conclusions. You have decided a whole world of things about the stove that burned you because it's its fault. But the truth is simple. The only thing that is true about this situation is that if your body, parts of your body, get too close to something which is above a certain temperature for past a certain time, you will get burnt. That is the truth when you dissect it. Everything else, the stove is bad, it's mean, I don't like it, I don't want to deal with the stove, I want to get away from it. Like all that stuff goes in the story bucket. When I say story, somebody tells you something. It could be true, it could be not true, but if you haven't experienced it, you don't know. So in this scenario, your parent may have told you, hey, the stove is hot, don't touch it. You'll get burnt. But that is a story until you have burnt your finger, or at least, if you were smarter, got close enough to realize, ooh, that doesn't feel good, but you didn't quite burn yourself. You just knew that that was what was going to happen from experience, right? One way or another, whether you're dumb like me and touch the stove, or you are smart enough to realize, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I won't stick my hand in the fire. If you were that smart, I am very happy for you. But that is a common thing that happens. And throughout your life, this is a simplified example, right? But it gets more and more nuanced, more and more complex as we get older. And you must have the integrity to be honest about what is the thing that you actually know, what you actually experienced, and everything else. And if you can do this, then you will actually be on a path to seeking answers, because you cannot genuinely seek the truth about anything if you believe something. If you've already come to some stupid conclusion in your head, then you're never going to go looking for the truth. And so you cannot become a seeker of truth if you believe you know a bunch of things that you don't, because you're just lying to yourself. And that's step one. Or the first thing I would say that is at the crux of so many people's stagnation in terms of growing. The second thing is judgments. Now, in reality, judgments is kind of a subset of the first thing because it's all kind of based on lies we tell ourselves, but let's keep it simple. Let's call it number 2, judgments. So when I say judgments, it could be you judging yourself. And that could be I think I'm so great. That's a conclusion you came to. Or I'm terrible. I'm awful. And that could also be a judgment you're making on yourself. And the same thing with yourself, with other things. This person is no good. This person's good. I don't like dogs. They're scary. I don't want anything to do with it. They're all evil. Or, oh my God, this cat is amazing. I love this cat. Let me just play with this cat. Oh my God, cat. The cat is not good, not bad. The dog is not good, not bad. Those are just your judgments. You're projecting your own nonsense onto external things. And we do this with people all the time, right? Suppose you're one of those that read all the spiritual books and learned all the things. You learned about chakras and you learned how to astral project and open your heart chakra and all that stuff. But it's all in your head. Because if it's not a real experience that you have had, if it's just some story from the outside that you've taken in and are now regurgitating out or imagining or hallucinating these things, which for many people it is, let's be real. When you do that, you often become this kind of person with a little pompous, a little smug, a little you're not very spiritual, and you're judging other people. And it's unnecessary. Not only is it harmful to you because you're not going to get anywhere if you just believe nonsense about yourself. You're blurring the lines of reality, and then you're living in a psychological world. You're not experiencing what is real. So if you're not experiencing what's real, you're not going to get forward. You're not going to be able to move forward. You're just lost in a fantasy. And the other thing that happens is you will turn people off. Other people who you're trying to give all this wisdom that you sucked up and you're trying to spit back out at other people. If you do it that way, what happens is now they're hearing you and they can tell that it's not true for you. This isn't like someone can say something which is illogical to you, but somehow if you pay attention, you can tell if it feels like, okay, it doesn't make sense to me, but I believe that is their experience, that they're telling the truth. And just as much so, it's true, somebody can say something which is perfectly logical, but still it doesn't feel right. Like something's off. Like it doesn't feel like this is true for you. Like it could be just a bunch of logical nonsense. So that's why we don't want to get into all of that. And if you're judging other people, it's usually because you've started believing something which is not true, and now you're trying to validate it by impressing somebody, making them believe you're so great. Or the other way, you're knocking people down, telling them like, oh, this or that. Or passing judgment the other way, positive. Oh, you're so great. You're so wonderful. Well, that's not really good for anybody, because what if it starts getting to their head and they become distorted? So either way, you're causing problems. It's just problems. And especially if you're being very harshly judgmental upon yourself, you're just not, it's like being cruel to a child for no reason. You could think of your body like a child, and it's your job to take care of this child. And if you're just being really harsh and unnecessarily judgmental, why? Well, probably because somebody told you that story and you chose to believe it. But it's not true. It's just not true. So again, learning, come back to that fundamental. You have to be very, very honest with yourself. And that means standing up for the fact that if you're telling yourself negative things and judging yourself, that may not be true. If you're telling other people, if you have to explain to them all the ways in which you're so great and you know so many things, it's probably not true. We will anyway recognize it. And even if they don't, what's it matter to you? If it is a true thing for you, you have nothing to prove to anybody. Okay, so judgments. Ex-nay, no more. Drop the judgments. They're pointless. They're not helping you. They're just not helping you. And they're definitely not helping anyone else. The third thing, and this is big because, we've all got busy lives and we've all got lots of things on our plate. But one of the biggest hurdles that most people face is that they just simply don't put enough effort into themselves. You have to understand that this is an investment. You are on this planet, and if you are spending all of your time trying to meet some very high expectation, or that you set for yourself, some high level of survival, you spend all of your time working to have a place to live and some food to eat and a shower, and that's all you do with most of your time. You're spending most of your life just trying to survive. I mean, a cricket outside is putting a lot less effort in and it's surviving just fine. It doesn't need toilets and showers and big fancy houses and all this stuff, right? It doesn't need a Rolex. It doesn't need a fancy car or cool shoes. It doesn't need nice clothes. And neither do you, really. Like, survival should not be that complicated. Trying to survive like someone else is becoming a problem. But at the end of the day, you need to spend a lot less time focusing on survival. And I realize there are some people who that's not an option in their current situation. But collectively, if you have the option, spend less time on these mundane nonsense things and invest in yourself, because the greatest gift that you can give to yourself, the greatest gift you can give to anybody else that you care about, like if there's anyone you care about, the greatest gift you can give is to grow, is for you to become the best version of yourself that you can be. So you need to figure out how you can prioritize, instead of watching Netflix, instead of spending all your time on social media or whatever you're doing that is not really that important, divert some of that time, even if it's just a little bit, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes, whatever it is, whatever you can afford. Start with that. It's okay. Start small and build up. But you need to spend time on yourself, because if you don't do that, then how the heck are you going to do anything of value to you? Not some societal standard of what should be important, but what do you care about? And I would hope that you growing as a person would be important to you. I would hope that you care about being the best version of yourself, if not for you, then at least for some other people around you. If you have kids, if you have parents or family members, friends, somebody, like you growing benefits all of them, but it benefits you. It really does. So take time, and remember the first thing we talked about was honesty, right? It's going to take a lot of effort for you to kind of systematically go through all the things that all the opinions you have, all the beliefs you have, all the assumptions you've come to, conclusions you've made. Go through all that stuff with this scalpel and understand what is actually something you know and what is just some stuff you're believing. Separate them into the I know this bucket and the this is a story bucket. Separate, and that's going to take time. So you just need to spend time with yourself. And this isn't the only thing you can do, nor is this the only method. I'm just telling you, if you don't have clarity about what you know and what you don't know, at least with the new things coming in, you can start applying this, learning how to see what is it that I actually know about the situation and what do I not. Then you can start sharpening that knife, that little scalpel, and make it very, very good. And you can start applying it whenever a memory comes up, whenever someone reminds you of a story. Okay, that happened. Now, what was actually true about that? And what was just my own nonsense? That requires time and effort, and you just need to spend it with yourself. So, those are the 3 things that I have found are severely inhibiting a lot of people from growing. And probably if you're the kind of person who's trying to grow and become a better person in whatever way you're going about it, probably getting a hold on these 3 aspects will help you massively improve and take something that will, at the current rate most people are going at, is going to take them so long. But if you start really applying these 3 things, put effort in, stop judging yourself and others, and learn to be honest with yourself, you can drastically reduce the amount of time it takes for you to grow as a person, rapidly grow. So I hope this helps. These things have helped me massively, so I wanted to share them with you today. If you are finding this to be useful, if you find that maybe you've already applied some of these things, I would love to hear what you've done and why it worked for you or why it didn't work for you, and what else. If you have other things to add, which are like important steps that are blocking people's growth, like what has blocked your growth? I would love to hear that too. So post all that in the comments below. If you like this content, you want more content, I'd appreciate to subscribe and like this video. And most importantly, I hope these 3 things help you. So if they do, wonderful. And I will see you in the next video.